Good afternoon, Iman. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. So I have started the recording. As we can see, we have two attendees. Λοιπόν, καλησπέρα σε όλες. Θα περιμένουμε ακόμη 5 λεπτά να δούμε αν έρθει και στην παρέα μας κάποιος άλλος, κάποια άλλη, και θα δώσουμε το λόγο στην συνάδελφο για την παρουσίασή της. Dr. Rabah, what I said is that we will wait a few more minutes so that we can see if anyone else will join us, and then we can start with your presentation, okay?
Okay. Would you please share my presentation, the PDF format of it on the platform?
Yes. You don't have, let me see if I can give you like...
and then you need to give me a moderator's role as well, so I can through the slides.
As a presenter, can you share your slides or...
What we've done before is that...
moderator, as a moderator?
Yes, as a moderator.
Okay.
But my presentation is on PowerPoint, so before we've converted it to PDF, and you please need to upload it on the platform as PDF. Is that possible?
And then you can use your keyboard to proceed to the next slide, right?
Yes, as long as I'm a moderator, yes.
Okay. Just let me...
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you can use the... Okay, great. So, a very warm welcome to everyone. Καλώς ορίσατε. Έχουμε μαζί μας την αγαπητή συνάδελφο Iman Rabah από το Modern University of Business for Business and Science του Λιβάνου, και η οποία θα μας παρουσιάσει τη διάλεξη της με τίτλο University Management Models, The Balance Between Total Quality Management and Traditional Higher Education Management Systems, including collegiality and professional autonomy. Dr. Rabah, a very warm welcome. For those who doesn't know me, my name is Antonis Kava. Είμαι ακαδημαϊκός υπεύθυνος στο μεταπτυχιακό πρόγραμμα Educational Leadership and Policy, στο οποίο εντάσσεται και αυτή η διάλεξη, η σημερινή διάλεξη. So, Dr. Rabah, very warm welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Antonius, for having me to present this lecture. Thank you, Open University of Cyprus, and welcome everyone to this lecture. So today's lecture is about total equality management and traditional higher educational management, the balance between those two systems. I'm going to start by giving you a background about myself and the university that I come from. So mainly my doctorate is in education from the British University in Dubai in association with Birmingham University, UK. And my research interest is in pedagogical research, quality management, higher education leadership, and research methods. I'm interested in studying different research methods, the comparison between qualitative and quantitative research methods, and paradox theory. I'm a reviewer for different journals, but I'm also an editor for Sage, UK. And for my working experience background, I have different administrative and academic working experience, mainly from University of Wollongong in Dubai, the registrar and the faculty coordination, as well as American University of Dubai and University of Wolverhampton in Dubai. I'm currently the Dean of Quality Assurance at the Modern University for Business and Science in Lebanon. Now, to give you a brief about our university, since one of the aims of this lecture is this cross-cultural interaction. MUBS is a university of 6 campuses located in different areas of Lebanon, including 2 rural areas where it allows it helps students in rural areas to go for higher education. As a university, we are known for our strength in internationalization. We are currently affiliated with Stanford University in the US, Cardiff Metropolitan University in Wales, UK, University of Staffordshire, UK, and Princeton University in the US as well. We are a European accredited university by Evalag accreditation, and we are ranked by THE Impact Ranking as the first in Lebanon in SDG 4 quality education, and 51st in the world, in addition to our rank as first in Lebanon as well in SDG 5 gender equality. We are a university that provides a lot of community service. We have our own NGO called National Wellness Network, where we provide our services to the community, and at the same time we collect data from the community and we analyze it and publish it within our research projects. Okay. Before starting to talk about our topic for today, I know that most of the students of this class are going to watch this presentation after it is recorded. But since we have 3 participants who have joined, it would be good if you give me an introduction or a brief about yourself. I'd really like to know you more, so I know your background, where we can have this lecture with more interaction and discussion about the topic that we will be talking about. So, Eleni, would you please introduce yourself to me and to the group? I think you attended yesterday's presentation, but today it's more about higher education. So please go ahead, introduce yourself, mainly your career, where you work, so we can discuss the topic and relevance to your career.
Okay. I have my first degree in the information technology science and a master's degree in the same area as well, but both of them go back in time. So my main area of profession is information technology. In my profession, I am employed in the banking sector, and lately I have moved to another department. It is not related to information technology anymore. It's more business, more administrative work, let's say, and among other among other objectives, I am responsible for the quality assurance section, which is something quite new for me. Of course, I have some theoretical knowledge, but now I am more deeply involved. So I have started from the beginning, and I try to read a lot, get all the necessary knowledge in order to cope with the demands of my new position.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So you're now working more in the business administrative section or department and focusing on quality assurance. Okay, welcome to this session, Eleni. My pleasure to have you in. Okay, and next, would you please introduce yourself? Your name is...
Yes, in Greek, Iman is Anastasia and Konstantina.
Okay. Okay, so...
Αν θέλει η Αναστασία και η Κωνσταντίνα έτσι να συστηθούν.
Yeah.
Δεν ξέρω αν μας ακούνε. I don't know if they listen to us.
So please remind me with the names, please, Dr. Antonios.
So it's Eleni, Anastasia, and Konstantina.
And Konstantina. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to the class. I think Konstantina attended yesterday's class in the quality management program. Anastasia, this is her first class with us. Okay, perfect. So as I can see, all of you you didn't attend the public lecture that was about quality management in education and higher education as well. However, today it's more about how quality management started in higher education specifically. We're going to go more into the details of this topic and discuss if quality management is an applicable form of management for universities, and how, if not, how would it be modified in order to fit the higher educational context. And in a way or another, Eleni, you can relate here the quality management concepts to the banking sector, where you can think of the principles of quality management that we've discussed yesterday, think of the critical analysis that these concepts had, and maybe to start forming the quality management system that you want to work, or that you would recommend or be part of in the bank, as we've discussed yesterday. Okay. So today's agenda is about the traditional university management systems that started before the introduction of managerialism and total quality management into the university. We're going to look for some cases of quality management application or implementation in the higher education context. We're going to look also at defenders of total quality management in higher education. Why would they defend total quality management? And opponents of this management system, in addition to some cases that are successful and some cases that failed in implementing quality management. And we're going to look at the reasons that made these cases fail in order to prevent it in higher education whenever you would be working in a similar context. Okay. I'm going to start with a brief about the traditional university management systems. We talked about these systems last Wednesday, in fact, and not Tuesday, in the public lecture. But I'm going to give a brief for you. You haven't or you didn't attend that lecture, and some of the students who are going to watch the recorded session. I'm going to give you a brief so you can relate to the cases that we're going to discuss when we talk about the success and the failure of total quality management in higher education. Okay, so we're going to look at this management system like from a story perspective. If you think about it, if you want to look at it as a story, in the before the late 1980s and 1990s, if you want to look at the management systems that universities were working based on, these systems were unique. You cannot compare the management that was happening in the university to any other industry. In fact, it wasn't even called management. It was known as governance. And the reason why it was known as governance is that the context itself as a university is unique. Why it is unique? Mainly, it is unique because it's different from other professions like engineering or medicine or law, for example. The profession of higher education or the academic profession is that it creates knowledge, not only it applies knowledge. So that's why it's a very critical profession, because through research, professors are those who create the knowledge, and at the same time, they are so professional in their area of expertise that gives them privilege to their managers even. So this is the first and the most unique context of the university. If you want to compare it with any other profession, for example, in any sector, the manager or the boss, he's the person who mostly knows the business, who mostly knows the processes of the business. However, in higher education, a professor, for example, who is teaching finance may know much more and may have more knowledge than his manager, who is the dean, who is more into marketing, if he is a marketing professor, for example. So what I'm trying to say here is that what is unique in the university management systems is that the staff, the academic staff or the professors, they may be more knowledgeable than the managers or the leaders of their departments, who are the deans or even the vice presidents and presidents of the university. So that's why the model in universities is a collegial model. It is more of a consensus decision making. It is more of where people can give their opinion and they can apply their theories, not necessarily by referring back to the approvals of their managers. So the way they teach, the way they decide the syllabus, the way they work on the assessment of the students, the assignments, the exams that they write, they are the most professional people about them, different from the industry where they should always report to their managers to get approvals. So that's why the collegial model is applicable to the university. In the collegial model, all the people are at the same level. and they all have the word when it comes to decision making. So it's more of a consensus decision making. However, this may not be the case in other industries. It wouldn't work to give a lot of freedom to staff when the managers have the right to take the decisions, or maybe they are the best people to take the decisions. What about the banking sector, Eleni? What would you tell us? To what extent you think such a model would work when we say collegial model, like all people to be on the same level, whether they are staff or managers, they can have a decision making altogether. Does this work in the banking sector, or they should always refer to their managers when there is decision to be taken?
Well, I believe that in the banking sector, it is more of a strict hierarchical model where decisions must be blessed, let's say, by the manager. And there is a very well-defined framework for designating the responsibilities. Who is responsible and up to which extent. So these procedures must be very thoroughly respected, and it's not very easy to take a different lead. Nevertheless, of course, each manager has his own style of making things run, and some of them maybe take into account some proposals, some ideas that their staff, their team may come up with. Nevertheless, it's up to the manager to say the final word and show the way forward.
Yes, yes. Okay, this is interesting. So this is another example or evidence that yes, in education it's completely different. The system is different because the manager is not necessarily the person who mainly knows the best about the topics. We have the new people joining. Thank you, Eleni. Marina, you've just joined us, and welcome to this session. It's about higher education management systems, including traditional management systems and TQM. Okay. Please feel free to give your opinion and to relate what we're talking about to the industry we're working in if it's not also in education. Okay, we have some Elizabeth. I'm gonna the chat.
We have a comment from Stavros, Dr. Rabah. Hi, I'm at work and cannot open microphones, but I'm listening.
Okay, great. I'm trying to see the chat, but it seems, yeah, I've seen this is from Stavros. Okay, so whenever you want to give your input, Stavros, please feel free to type on the chat if you'd like to interact with us. And this also applies to all of you. Marina, Elizabeth, Constantina, and Anastasia. Okay. So this is the collegial model that was mainly successful in universities, and we're talking here mostly about public universities before the 1980s, before late 1980s. That model was working perfectly for the universities, and in addition to the collegial model, the model of governance was a shared governance model where the leader takes a role for a certain period of time, and after that he goes back to his main position as a professor, and another professor would take the role of the leader. So what we're trying to say here is that the leader, and when we say the leader in academia, we mainly, in most universities, know that the leader is the dean of each department, the dean or the vice president, the president. So these are the positions of leadership in universities. So they take this position, and after a certain period, usually 3 years or 5 years, depending on the rules of each country, the dean steps back as a professor, and the professors, another professor takes the position as the dean. The reason of this style of management or governance system, which is not the case in other industries, is that all the people will be working for one vision, one mission of the organization. It's not a vision for the leader himself or the individual himself. It's more of a vision at an institutional level that they keep working on to achieve it, regardless of who is the leader. So the leader's role is more of serving the department and serving the subordinates or the professors who are in the department. It's more serving them than being a leader and supervising them. So this is the shared governance model, who is not applicable to other organizations as well, and may not be applicable to education itself. It's more of higher education, in fact. Along with the collegial model and the shared governance model goes the academic tenure model. And the academic tenure actually means that those professors, academic staff, stay in their job for a lifetime. It means no one is allowed to fire them, in simple language. And this helps in the success of the collegial model and the shared governance model, because when they stay in their job, they become more loyal to the department. They gain more confidence to have academic freedom, because one of the uniqueness of the university management systems is the academic freedom of professors. So professors have full academic freedom according to the collegial and the shared governance model. And when we say academic freedom, it's professional autonomy, including academic freedom in teaching and in research. They can choose the research topic that they want, and they can teach the style that they want, assess the students the way that they want, based on the topic of professional autonomy, based on they are professionals and they know the best of doing it. So this is something that doesn't necessarily still happen. And now we will see why it has changed. So with the academic tenure, also it serves collegiality because it helps collegiality to develop gradually. Collegiality requires time to build for people to become at the same level and have a consensus decision making for a good result and good conclusion that would help the organization or the university. Academic tenure helps in that. And it also helps in the shared governance model, because staff here are not worried or scared from each other that someone would take the place of another, because they know that they are all staying in this position. So they're going to take turns in the governance system, and they're going to they're not going to lose their work if they have freedom and decide on a topic of research that they are interested in. So if you think about it, it's a very unique management model. If you think how it's happening, you would say that this is really interesting. It's a nice context, nice model of management that professors used to enjoy, because here we're talking historically before the late 1980s. Some universities, they still have this model, but it barely works currently with all the changes that have happened in higher education. Okay, what happened? What happened basically is in the late 1980s, the number of students in Western universities had really increased because students started traveling from less developed countries to more developed countries. This is the time that we know from our, I don't know, maybe uncles or parents or grandparents, that at this time there were a lot of people traveling from less developed countries to more developed countries for the sake of learning and joining higher education. Governments at that time couldn't afford the expenses of students traveling from these countries. And at the same time, this is the age where technology was taking place, and technology had its expenses as well. So with the expenses of the increasing number of students and expenses of the technology, governments were not able to fund the universities anymore. And that's why they started opening the opportunity for universities to collect tuition fees from students, whether it's public or the private universities. And this was the turning point. As soon as students start paying their tuition fees, the model of the university management system changed and became more of a managerial model and more of a business model, because they want the students to come to the university and to pay. So they started having marketing strategy. The competition started between one university and another. They started looking at the student as the customer of higher education, where they want him to come to the university and take and study and pay tuition fees. And here was the main debate, whether these students should be considered as the customers of higher education or not. The problem is that at that time, the collegial model cannot work anymore. You need to attract more students, but the problem with the business models is that it started looking at more students, the quantity of the students maybe more than the quality, easy academic curricula, so it would attract more students from less developed in terms of knowledge countries. At the same time, assessment methods became easier because it's part of the competition, taking into consideration that students who would pass and universities would stay in these universities rather than leave or drop, and maybe they would attract more students with a reputation that a certain university helps students to pass and to achieve their higher education degrees. So here came the public administration. It's a pure business models that started to be applied in universities, and it started to take the place of the collegial model. And there was a lot of discussion and debate whether these were the right models or not. So I'd like to ask a question here, and it would be great if we can start the discussion. What do you think? Telling you this story that the traditional management systems couldn't work anymore with private universities opening. And they had to apply business models like marketing strategies and administrative business models to higher education. I want your opinion. Do you think that business models can work at a university level in education and specifically higher education? What do you think? You can give your opinion even you're not in education or higher education, but you can have you can take a side in this discussion. What do you think? Can business models and management models apply in higher education? Would anyone like to give your opinion?
You may add something here, Dr. Rabah.
Yeah.
To some extent, I will say that, yes, we can take some business models and adjust them actually to the higher education. But the most important thing is to take the idea, the knowledge, and then try to adjust it within our own territory, I mean, the higher education.
Yeah.
For example, I'm referring now to my own research. Trying to understand how school leaders, let's say, can deal with crisis. And from the business sector, we can, let's say, collect crisis management models, you know, from the business in general sector, and we can adjust it to the school leadership. So something like that can also happen in this perspective also.
Yes. So business models can apply in your opinion, but it should be modified in order to fit the higher education context.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, this is absolutely true, especially that no pure model can be applied the same as is in one organization like the other, or in one area or industry like the other. There's always the context that we should take into consideration, and that would either fit or wouldn't fit the context of the organization itself. So this is absolutely true. That's why the new business models that were applied to higher education, they were named as a new public management. They are business models, but they were always trying to customize them in order to fit the higher education context. But the main problem in business models that happened here is that the professor's role actually changed. The nature of the professor's role actually changed. What happened is that first there were funding restraints in terms of research. For research, their research wasn't funded enough as before. There was a continuous combat or fight between management and academia, especially that management requires a lot of reporting, a lot of documentation, a lot of administrative tasks, where the academic people wouldn't want to spend their time working on administrative tasks and reporting and documenting processes. They would prefer more to spend their time, if not in teaching, then in research. And this is a problem that we all face it who are working in higher education, that we always feel that we have a lot of administrative tasks. All these administrative tasks came into the higher education context along with business model or the new public management model. That wasn't the case. So this is one of the disadvantages of the business model that was applied in higher education. In addition to that, academic freedom was eroded to a certain limit. And the reason is that at the time where professors followed the academic tenure model and they knew that they wouldn't lose their job, they had more freedom because they know that nothing would affect their job. However, with management and the lack of academic tenure, the case of academic tenure is not applicable to all universities anymore. They were a bit cautious in selecting their research topics and their research results as well, because they want to have results of research that work with the university's political side or opinion. Scholarly values in teaching and research were questioned, because when we say that universities want to attract more students and the assessment was affected here, and the standard of accepted students was also affected, then we are having problem in terms of the values in teaching and research. And universities started to get larger and larger, having more administrative tasks. Administrative tasks were increasing and increasing. Administrators have more financial demand. They have budgets, they have targets, they have more financial perspective than the academic perspective. And in fact, we cannot deny that. And we cannot blame universities for applying such models, because now universities simply, they are not funded by the government anymore, when we talk about private universities, of course, and even public universities, there are some funding restraints on them in some cases, not to generalize, where they have to think of the financial demand. That's why in some public universities, tuition fees is requested from non-national nationals in order to keep supporting the university financially and in order to bring funding to the university. So this is a summary of how we had the collegial model and shared governance model eroded, that led to the trust eroded, collegial model eroded, and at the same time there were policies to control research topics, and yeah, academic freedom was affected, university autonomy, so we discussed that. Okay, how we're going to link now between management systems in the university and the quality management, because to many universities, the solution was quality management that would help in balancing between traditional systems and business systems. In fact, there are also many opponents of the quality management system, and now we will see cases of that and examples of universities that applied this system. So quality management is a business model, but at the same time, it is a new business model. And this business model started basically as quality control and in manufacturing, because quality was something that people looked at it even from ancient China. From the Zhou dynasty, ancient China, 11th century, they used to look and inspect the quality of handicraft production. But in the modern age, quality was quality control. So, and this has nothing to do with education at that time, and here we're talking in the 1980s as well. So while changes were happening to the university in the late 1980s and 1990s, also there were changes happening in business. And these changes started by inspection of quality. At that time, quality was only through quality control, looking for defects and trying to avoid them or trying to find them and take corrective action. And then quality control was developed to quality assurance. They started thinking, like, why shall we do defects or mistakes and then correct them? Let's avoid them. So quality assurance is avoiding mistakes before they happen. Quality control is detecting mistakes. Now, the problem with quality assurance in the industry is that it is so tough with employees and staff, and it is like as if error or mistakes are not allowed, and they have to avoid them from the very beginning. So the management was so strict with the staff not to conduct mistakes. That's why the topic of total equality management came into prominence. So Edward Deming, who is the founder of total equality management, he said that if you want to have products, and here again we're talking about manufacturing, if you want to have products with no defects, you should know how to manage the organization from the very beginning. You should know how to have the right principles in management. If you know how to manage, and mainly staff, he focuses on staff, then you will get the right results, and you will get products with no defects. According to Deming, the most important 7 points in quality management are focusing on customers, and to him, customers are both external customers and internal customers, because in quality management, the customer is always right. He names the staff as customers to give them the privilege, same like external customers. So external customers are those who buy the products, and internal customers are the staff or the employees. Leadership, so he said that all these together, these 7 points, will help to have good quality. There should be high leadership skills in the organization. People know how to lead appropriately. Teamwork, all the staff should be working to achieve one mission and vision, and with a team spirit. They should be empowered and not only delegated. They should have the right to take decisions, and they should have a successful, a productive, a healthy corporate culture. The culture should be healthy, and all should work for achieving one strategy. There should be a clear strategic objective or objectives, one clear strategy, and they should always work on continuous improvement. The company should be always improving at all times. Okay, so these are the 7 principles of total equality management, and they started working in manufacturing. Okay. Does anyone like to tell us if you think these 7 principles are important to the university as well, since they started in manufacturing and in the industry, and they gradually proliferated to the a service industry in developed and developing countries, including healthcare and education. Do you think that these are important in universities, same like any other companies? If you want to give your opinion, you can type in the chat if you don't want to talk, or if you have a problem with your mic.
If I may add something here, Dr. Rabah, I think yes. If we take into consideration each one of these sections here, yes, we can adjust it and refer to the university as well. For example, strategic objectives has to do with understanding the market maybe, and then creating new study programs, for example, or the continuous improvement. Maybe could be connected to the accreditation of the master's degree, of the offering, degrees in general, the corporate culture, about creating a positive culture so that all members, both academic and administrative, to work together, and of course, leadership, teamwork, and the customers referring to the students, to the external market that needs to have the students equipped with these particular talents, referring to the master's degree that they are doing, for instance. So
yes, absolutely. These are very important, and they are as important in the university as in other industries, but at the same time they require modification in order to fit the university context. That's why total quality management started in universities as well, because it had an important role that helped at the time where the changes were happening in the university, and the focus on staff here is similar to the focus on academic staff or professors in the university. So the idea of applying total quality management in universities started from here. Same like the industry, where quality assurance was not giving enough rights to staff and employees. So total quality management came to say that people are really important. At the university level, a similar problem was happening with the management models invading the university and giving less freedom to professors and academic staff. Total quality management was here to return back the freedom and the empowerment of the university professors. In fact, total quality management started with Deming. Deming is an American scholar. When he suggested the total quality management system in the States, it was rejected. They thought that it's so much freedom for staff. It gives this empowerment is not important to be implemented in manufacturing, because remember that here all of this started in manufacturing itself. So no companies were happy to adopt such a model. So he had to travel to Japan, where his ideas were more accepted in Japanese companies. And he started working for different companies as a statistician, providing and giving the total quality management as a recommendation for these companies to use it. The main concept of Deming is Plan, Do, Check, Act. It's called Deming cycle or Schwartz cycle, where he says that you should always inspect. And this comes from his background as a statistician. The inspection and the checking and the data collection and analysis. It starts always with planning. He says that all processes should be planned, starting with strategic planning, going into clear goals and objectives, with clear policies, clear procedures, clear processes in the planning step, and then the implementation takes place. While implementation is happening, data should be always collected by quality managers in order to analyze it, in order to check if things are done appropriately according to the plan. And based on the results, the action comes, where here is corrective action takes place. Based on the results, there are always areas of improvement. According to Deming, weaknesses are areas of improvement, and mistakes are areas of improvement. According to that, they plan the next cycle, and it's always a cycle that is going on. The main system in the quality management for Deming, the system of profound knowledge, is based on appreciation for a system. And here it's very important to have clear policies and procedures that are cross-functional, that serve all the departments to serve one mission and one vision. Understand variation, and this is the checking point when you understand why we have variation from the standard. Theory of knowledge, where knowledge is the most important. People should have the knowledge of what they're doing, and they build it through experience. And also the psychology, again focusing on people, intrinsic motivation, avoiding fear, providing pride for staff so they will be happy in applying the system. From the Plan, Do, Check, Act PDCA cycle and the system of profound knowledge, Deming said, if you want to apply quality management in your organization, you should follow these 14 points. First, there should be a mission, and this applies to the university if you think about it. First, there should be a mission, people should a clear mission with its objectives and how to be implemented. People should understand the new philosophy of the total quality management so they accept it. When there is inspection, you should make it clear for staff why the inspection is happening, and it's not for evaluation, it's more of for improvement. You shouldn't be driven by price only when it comes to business practices. Not only the price is what decides. Continuously improve the system through the PDCA cycle. Training is so important. Institute leadership. Remove fear. Create team and individual efforts. Don't make the workforce so tired. Don't exhaust them. Don't have quotas and MBOs, and this is a point that we can point to, that you can have different opinion about it, whether to have MBOs or not. Management by objectives. Shall we? Some quality scholars say that there should be quality objectives for staff. According to Deming, there shouldn't be objectives because management by objectives or MBOs limits the staff creativity and innovation. So I don't know what's your opinion about that. Please think about it and let me know as I finish the slide. Remove barriers that rob people of pride, of workmanship. Let them have the pride. And you don't give pride by saying you should be proud of your work. You do something that would make them feel that they are proud and love what they're doing, that they create the pride of the workmanship. Self-improvement, self-learning is so important, and taking action when there is a transformation to apply quality management. There should be an action taken, and this happens by change management and accepting change. Okay, does anyone want to give me your opinion if you think that MBOs is a successful management system, like asking staff to write their objectives? Do you think this is something that would help or not? Please feel free to give your opinion.
May I say something on that?
Of course, Irene, go ahead.
I think that writing down the objectives and making plans helps in every aspect of life, even in the personal, at a personal level, because things get a more concrete view, and it's not just theory or wish. It becomes something very realistic, something very concrete in front of our eyes, and this gives us motivation to achieve these goals, and also makes us as a consequence write down also what are the necessary steps in order to achieve this goal and what are the prerequisites. So a lot of things get in the right order so as to achieve this objective.
Thank you, Elenia. I highly respect your opinion. And yes, you can have an opinion in that. And these are the advantages of writing MBOs. Yes, when you have certain objectives that are written down and that you've agreed with your manager about, because according to the quality scholars, the MBOs are a list of objectives that a staff member decides to achieve in a certain period of time, usually annually or semi-annually. They write them down and they sit with the manager to discuss them and to finalize them. So they write them down for the sake of ownership. They sit together to discuss them in order to have the approval of the manager and in order for both of them to be on the same page. And they work to achieve them. When it comes the time to evaluation and appraisal, they sit together again and they review what was achieved and what wasn't and how the company can help to achieve these MBOs, and appraisal is based on that. Some scholars argue that these are not helpful, and Deming is one of them, because he says that don't limit people to certain objectives. They will be only constrained by these objectives. However, give them areas of freedom to be creative and innovative and create more objectives than what you would limit them to. So this is another point of view. This is called the critical analysis of the literature. When we look at certain points and we look at them if we agree or not, and we compare and show where we agree or not. And you can do this in your assignments. You can also think of publishing research in your area and giving your opinion. It's so important to publish whenever you write a piece of research under the supervision of your professors, because it will show you, it will let your voice be heard, your opinion. Instead of keeping your opinion for yourself, it will be part of the literature and you will have input in the literature that would be valuable to the realm of research that you're working on. Okay. Jordan's trilogy is similar to Deming's. It's 3 steps, not 4. Quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. It also says that the quality management systems should be always reviewed as the quality management 3 steps. 4 steps for Deming. It's 3 for Jordan. The continuous improvement principle. Other quality gurus like Crosby, it's important to know that you should work according to him with a standard of 0 defects. If you work and achieve 0 defects, then there's no need for a quality department to do the inspection. Then quality is free and there is no need to invest in taking corrective actions. The concept of Gemba Kaizen is something that I'd like you to be familiar with. It's a Japanese concept that says that continuous improvement is important in the workplace, and inconsistencies should be eliminated, as known as Muda, Mura, and Muri in Japanese. Feigenbaum focuses on the importance of quality is everyone's job and not only the quality department's job in order to have the quality achieved. Taguchi, he focuses on statistics and inspection and studying variation, and Ishikawa focusing on solving problems through the fishbone diagram or the cause and effect diagram, where you trace back each problem to 6 main reasons. He thinks that whenever there is a problem happening, the reasons would be a collection of 6 factors, either people or altogether people, processes, equipment, material, environment, and management. Okay, so here for total quality management, it started in Japan manufacturers, Then, because it worked really well, it started to proliferate to the USA and other developed and developing countries. They started applying it. And after manufacturing, service industry organizations started applying it, including public organizations. And this also includes education, higher education, and healthcare. At the same time, in higher education, while universities were growing up and expanding, and while the technology was causing a lot of expenses, and government's financial constrictions were taking place, total quality management was used as a business model. Defenders of total quality management say that it is a good model. You can apply it in higher education. It helps in bridging the gaps. It encourages continuous improvement. It increases staff morale, teamwork, the quality of the programs in the university itself. But the opponents of total quality management say that the problem with quality management is that it has a lot of standardization, and this cannot happen in education. Total quality management focuses a lot on customers, and it's hard to identify the customer in higher education. It requires a culture that accepts the change, and it's also hard to create this culture in higher education. The role of the student isn't clear according to TQM. Measuring performance is also not clear. Measuring the outcomes of quality and the effectiveness of the program is something that is hard to be measured statistically. So this is the opinion of the opponents of total quality management in higher education. I'm going to give you a sample of universities that applied total quality management and that had success in their experience. At University of California and California State University, total quality management helped in administrative processes. It also helped in increasing staff morale according to research, in increasing teamwork, and the quality of the programs and personnel hiring improved. In Malaysia, it was applied in 4 universities out of 51, and it also improved teamwork, leadership, continuous improvement, and the performance led to business excellence. In the USA also, Pahang State College of Professional Development, total quality management helped in empowering staff, and also it improved the way staff were managed and motivated. In the Arab region, Sharjah University applied total quality management, and it shows that all staff, faculty, and students support the implementation. The nursing department in University of Virginia reported that student satisfaction also was raised, and the pass average was raised according to applying total quality management, and specifically the PDCA or Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle of Deming. TQM is applied in universities in Finland, and universities were able to change and become learning organizations due to the application of TQM in them. Johns Hopkins University Physics Laboratory Education Center, they also say that TQM contributed to their learning and challenges, interest, relevance to future job, all of these, flexibility of project, knowledge of instructor, and valuable teamwork. In Oman, also in the Arab region, the Oman Accreditation Council required all universities to get accredited locally, and the accreditation bodies were based on quality management system, and it really help these organizations. However, and I'll wait until I finish the comparison, and then you can give your opinion where you think your universities, maybe here in Cyprus or Greece, would be considered if we apply total quality management in them, or if you have any cases that you know of universities that applied the management system. New Zealand audit processes and quality models in the academic department in a public university showed that teaching overload, administrative tasks, less research, and scholarly activities. So here, I'd like to bring to your attention something very important, that basically in New Zealand, if you read cases of New Zealand universities in the public university, they applied part of quality management. In fact, they applied more of auditing processes than quality management. All of the success were limited to administrative rather than academic departments in these universities in New Zealand. The major difficulty of total quality management in the academic department that faculty resisted it, and it wasn't socially authorized because it requires a lot of administrative tasks, as we mentioned early in this presentation, and less freedom to faculty because it's similar to or part of business models that focuses more on student satisfaction. Some scholars consider it as a slippery concept because it's not clear. It includes a lot of meanings, and these meanings can be different between one person and another. The problem is that some total quality management scholars consider that the student is the product of higher education, where opponents of total quality management said that this cannot work. We cannot identify in higher education a clear customer and product. The student is more of an active participant. Also, the problem with quality management is that it requires statistical data, a lot of statistics and analysis, and you cannot always collect statistics, and you cannot always quantify the learning experience of students. The problem with quality management, according to some scholars as well, is that the standards are not really high in terms of the quality of education. When it comes to high quality, they're not really high because they focus more on numbers and targets to be achieved. So these are the people who consider it as a pure management model. Now, as Dr. Antonius has just said, every model should be modified in order to fit the context that it works in. So, okay, traditional university management systems cannot work in private universities now, and cannot, or they're not enough. We need to have an input of some business models in order to survive with all the changes that we've discussed. And at the same time, you cannot take a pure business model and apply it to any context, and especially to higher education. So the point here is, how would we balance? How would we balance to keep the higher educational traditional management system there, and at the same time to have a total quality management or a business management model that would create this balance? Does anyone want to give your opinion of how would we create this balance to fit into the higher education? What do you think? How would we take the 7 principles of total quality management or any business model and think of modifying it in order to fit higher education? please feel free to give your opinion. You can open your mic and talk, or you can type in the chat if you have any point that you'd like to raise in here. Okay, no problem. I'm here. I'd like to give you a summary of how would we balance. This is a suggested model that we are applying it now at the Modern University of Business and Science in Lebanon. And this is one of my research results. It takes the 7 main principles of total quality management, including the details within these 7 principles, and it modifies these principles to fit the higher education context. And here we will, through this model, we will be creating a balance between total quality management and traditional management systems like collegiality and professional autonomy in order to have a successful model in higher education. So here the balance can happen by focusing on the processes, on the administrative processes as standard processes, having standard processes for the administrative department, but not for the academic department. Give freedom for academic people, for professors in the way they teach, but have standard processes for administrative processes like in the registrar, student affairs, even administrative tasks of academic professors, like the way they submit their grades, the way they collect feedback from students. But when it comes to teaching styles and pure academic job, freedom should be there, and this would be a balance. Assessing the results, assess the students' learning by collecting course instructor evaluation feedback forms, by doing assessment for students through examination. But for faculty, it's more of asking them to keep conducting pedagogical research and content research in what they teach in. And this would be like through self-assessment in order to keep improving. For planning, pedagogical methods to meet subjects' learning outcomes. So faculty should have strategic objectives, and they should achieve the university's mission and vision. And what we mean here is that the strategy of the university should be cascaded to the strategies of the programs or the majors, and the strategy and the learning objectives should be also cascaded to each and every course in order to help in achieving the mission and vision of the university. For training, when it comes to academic staff or professors, in TQM, training is so important and should always happen. Training in this model is substituted by self-development. It means to keep working on improving yourself, and mainly through research. Teamwork in TQM is translated in management systems in the university to peer review of research articles, and at the same time peer observation and optional peer observation for the sake of academic freedom. Professors are encouraged to attend each other's class and give opinions to each other's teaching styles without any reporting to the upper management. More research is the most important value in the university, not only faculty research, but also students' research. For collegiality is encouraged in this model, and it's taken from the traditional management university systems, and it is translated in practice to faculty empowerment, ownership, and self-governance, and this means less reporting to higher management. Faculty responsibility or professor's responsibility is to receive, assimilate, and interpret and discover and transmit knowledge. All of this is through teaching and research findings. As long as they have academic freedom and research, then they can achieve all these points. What is the leader's role in this model? If we want to balance between total quality management that has a very hierarchical structure and traditional university management systems, then we should have leaders who help faculty, who defend them, who preserve their academic freedom, who keep the politics away from the university, and create a vision where they can all follow. Cross-cultural awareness is highlighted in this model, where cultural awareness should be taken into consideration, not only in terms of different cultures and diversity in nationality or in backgrounds, but also in the personality of people, by focusing on Trompinar's theory of internal locus of control people and external locus of control people and their personality, so they can be given tasks accordingly. Some people have are more individualistic. Some people are collectivists who can work in teams better than working individually. So leaders are supposed to know the identity and personality of their staff in order to allocate the right tasks to them. By doing all the previous points in the balance here through teaching and research, what will be achieved according to this model, or the attempt to be achieved, is community development, where it works as the customer and the product at the same time, because we will be able to create better generations, and this will develop the community and improve the society that we are in. So by this, we will be working on having a balance between total equality management and higher education traditional university systems in order to preserve collegiality and academic freedom, but at the same time be able to operate in this current context of the university. Thank you. Any questions, any comments?
So, Dr. Rabah, thank you so much for this interesting presentation. We have almost 10 minutes before concluding this session. Therefore, I will open the floor for questions. So please feel free, the participants, they can either ask their questions, just open your microphone, or text if you have any questions.
I'd like to add something here. As you can see, and this is to all of you, especially that it seems that you're all master's students in here, we always read the literature and we always have our point of view that is not necessarily, and it shouldn't necessarily meet the literature points of view. Like we read for different scholars, but sometimes we have a different opinion. Please never underestimate your opinion. Always try to write your opinion down through conducting research, and at your level as master's students, you can think of publishing your research so your opinion will be heard and added to the literature instead of only keeping it for yourself. At MUBS in Lebanon, at our university, master's students start publishing. Maybe you do as well. So whenever you are interested maybe in such a topic, we can co-write together, we can co-publish. I can put you in contact with the students who are working on similar topics in Lebanon, and this would help as well in collaboration and in sharing knowledge.
That's great, Dr. Rabah. Thank you so much. It's about also bringing the critical perspective. I mean, by reading the literature, and as students themselves can bring their own critical perspective on various topics and subjects. We have a comment here. Thank you for the interesting presentation. Thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you, Anastasia.
Okay, also from Marina, thank you, very interesting from a lecture. Thank you so much. So I don't see that we have any other questions. Therefore, first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Rabah for her visit here in Cyprus and at the Open University of Cyprus. It was a very productive and interesting week, and we thank you for bringing your expertise and your input, So thank you so much. It was nice also meeting you the other day. Thank you also to all the students for participating. As you can see, Dr. Rabah here shared her information. So if you want to stay connected, please go ahead and you can contact her, send her an email. So it's time to conclude this session.
It was a pleasure being here in Cyprus. I really loved the country, loved the people in here. They're so welcoming, and I had a very good time. It was a pleasure meeting you in person and all the colleagues in the Open University of Cyprus. Thanks for all the students who attended the session, and it's always a pleasure to be with you and to connect together. We will also share some webinars that we have and some hybrid lectures where we can always have our students attending our sessions together.
That's very nice. Thank you so much, Dr. Rabah. You can contact also Erato if you want to share some more information on that. And of course, we will keep in contact and be in touch. So thank you all so much, everyone. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you. Bye-bye.